They say the bullets at Shiloh didn't just whistle, they screamed with the voices of the men who fired them. But for Private Silas Thorne, the most terrifying thing about the morning of April 6, 1862, wasn't the noise, it was the sudden, impossible silence that swallowed the peach orchard just before the first muzzle flashed. Silas wasn't just fighting for the Union, he was carrying a secret mapped in ink on his ribs that could end the war by Tuesday or burn the Republic to the ground by Sunday. The humidity in Tennessee didn't just sit on you, it owned you. Silas Thorne wiped a mixture of gunpowder, grime, and sweat from his forehead, his fingers trembling as he gripped his Enfield rifled musket. Around him, the 21st Missouri was settling into a breakfast.
Pork and chicory coffee wafted through the damp air, a cruel contrast to the metallic tang of iron that seemed to permeate the very soil of the South. "Think they're out there, Silas." The voice belonged to Calamity Jane, not the legend, but a spindly 18-year-old boy named Jedediah, who had earned a nickname by tripping over his own scabbard twice during drill. Silas didn't look up. He was staring at the tree line where the dogwoods were in bloom, white as funeral shrouds. "They aren't just out there, Jed. They're breathing down our necks. Can't you feel the air getting heavy?" Silas wasn't a superstitious man, but he was a surveyor by trade. He understood topography, the way shadows fell, and the way birds behaved when 1,000 boots were treading on dry leaves. The birds had gone quiet 10 minutes ago. Suddenly, the world exploded. It wasn't a single shot, but a tidal wave of sound. The rebel yell, a high-pitched banshee wail that defied human vocal cords. Out of the brush came a wall of butternut and gray, a surging mass of humanity that seemed to rise from the earth itself. "Fix bayonets!" the colonel screamed, but his voice was lost in the crackle of the first volley. The Civil War is often remembered in tidy maps and arrows in history books, but for Silas, it was a blurred kaleidoscope of sensory horrors. The mini-ball, a soft lead projectile, didn't just wound, it shattered bone into porcelain shards. As the Missouri line buckled, Silas found himself pushed back toward the sunken road. He saw a Confederate officer, a man no older than himself, charging on a horse that looked more like a ghost than an animal. Their eyes locked for a fraction of a second, a shared recognition of their mutual mortality, before a canister shot from a Union battery turned the air between them into a whirlwind of lead and splintered wood. As Silas retreated through the thickets, he felt the heavy weight of the leather satchel strapped beneath his tunic. To any observer, it looked like a standard dispatch bag. In reality, it contained the Orion cipher.
Sherman didn't know he had it. Silas had taken it from a dying Pinkerton agent in Cairo, Illinois, 3 weeks prior. The agent's last words had been, "Don't trust the telegraph lines. The copper is tainted." The cipher suggested that the war wasn't just being fought over states' rights or the abolition of slavery, though those fires burned hot enough, but that a third party, a syndicate of European creditors, was actively sabotaging both Richmond and Washington to ensure the war lasted a decade, bankrupting the New World for the benefit of the Old. By midday, Silas had reached the hornet's nest. The fighting here was so intense that the bullets nipped the leaves off the trees until the woods looked like it was midwinter. He lay in the dirt, the smell of sulfur stinging his lungs, watching the sun struggle to pierce the thick blanket of gun smoke. He realized then that the Great Divide wasn't just between North and South. It was between the men who bled in the mud and the men who sat in mahogany offices calculating the price of that blood per gallon. "Silas, you're hit!" Jedediah crawled toward him, his face pale. Silas looked down. A dark stain was blooming across his side, right over the satchel. He felt a strange detachment. If he died here, the Orion cipher died with him. The conspiracy would continue. The war would grind on until there were no sons left to bury. "Listen to me, Jed," Silas gasped, clutching the boy's coat. "If I don't get up, you take this bag. You don't give it to the captain, you don't give it to the colonel. You find a man named Abraham in Washington. Only him." "The president?" Jedediah's eyes went wide. "Silas, I'm just a farm boy from St. Joe." "Today," Silas whispered, as the sound of the Confederate cannons shook the very bedrock of Tennessee. "Today, nobody is just a farm boy anymore." The sun dipped below the horizon, but there was no darkness. The woods of Shiloh were illuminated by a hellish, flickering orange light from the burning brush and the smoldering remains of supply wagons. The screams of the wounded, thousands of them, trapped in the no-man's land between the lines, created a chorus that would haunt Silas Thorne for the rest of his life. Silas lay near a shallow creek, his blood mixing with the cold water. The wound in his side was deep, a jagged tear from a spent ball. Beside him, Jedediah sat shivering, holding his rifle as if it were a wooden crucifix. "Silas," Jedediah whispered, his voice cracking. Look at your arm." Silas looked down, expecting to see the blackened grime of gangrene. Instead, he saw something that defied every law of nature he knew. His wound, and the wounds of several men lying near the water's edge, were glowing. A soft, ethereal blue-green light pulsed from the torn flesh, casting a ghostly shimmer on the surrounding leaves. "Am I dead, Jed?" Silas asked, his voice a dry rattle. "Is this the light they tell you to walk toward?" "No," a voice drifted from the shadows. It wasn't Jed's. A figure emerged from the smoke. He wore a Union coat, but it was so tattered and covered in mud that he looked like a creature made of earth. He carried no weapon, only a heavy leather doctor's bag. He knelt beside Silas, his eyes unnervingly calm. "It's the cold," the man said, his fingers probing Silas's side. The temperature dropped so fast that the bacteria in the soil are reacting to the heat of your bodies. Some call it the angel's glow. Those who glow usually live. Those who stay dark, well, the maggots get them by morning. The stranger reached into Silas's tunic, his hand brushing against the hidden satchel. Silas grabbed the man's wrist with surprising strength. "Who are you?" Silas hissed. "A student of the inevitable," the man replied, pulling back. "My name is Dr. Aris Thorne. No relation, I presume. But I know what you're carrying, Silas. I know about the Orion cipher, and I know that the men who want it are currently crossing the Tennessee River under a flag of truce that isn't their own." The doctor leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a level even Jedediah couldn't hear. "The European creditors have agents on both sides of this field. They don't care about the Union or the Confederacy. They care about the debt. A divided America is a bankrupt America, and a bankrupt America is a colony once more." Silas felt the weight of the cipher pressing against his ribs. "Why tell me this? Why not just take it while I'm bleeding out?" "Because," Aris said, looking toward the Confederate lines, "you were chosen by the Pinkerton for a reason. You have the surveyor's mind. You see the grid beneath the chaos. If I take it, I'm just another thief. If you deliver it, it's a message from the front lines." Suddenly, the sound of hoofbeats muffled by the damp earth approached. A small group of riders, silhouetted against the fires, moved slowly through the trees. They didn't wear the blue of the Union or the gray of the South. They wore long black duster coats, and their hats were pulled low. "The vultures," Aris whispered. "They've come to glean the field." "Jed, get up," Silas commanded, the blue glow of his wound pulsing faster as his heart rate spiked. The pain was still there, but the angel's glow seemed to act as a strange, numbing
The Rebs are 500 yards that way and the river is behind us. "We aren't going to the river," Silas said, pushing himself up. He looked at Dr. Aris, but the mysterious physician had already vanished into the fog, leaving only a small vial of clear liquid behind. Silas grabbed the vial, downed it. The taste was like electricity and rusted iron, and felt a surge of artificial energy. He grabbed Jed's collar. "We're going through the Confederate flank. It's the last place they'll look for 2 Union soldiers." As they began to crawl through the underbrush, Silas looked back at the hornet's nest. The blue light from the wounded men looked like a fallen galaxy scattered across the dark Tennessee woods. It was a beautiful, terrifying omen. The Civil War was no longer just a battle of brothers, it was a hunt. And Silas Thorne had just become the most valuable prey in North America. In the actual Battle of Shiloh, many soldiers' wounds did indeed glow in the dark. Years later, it was discovered that the soldiers were suffering from hypothermia, which allowed a bioluminescent bacteria called Photorhabdus luminescens to grow in their wounds. This bacteria actually killed off more harmful, gangrene-causing bacteria, meaning those who glowed had a much higher survival rate. The journey of Silas Thorne concludes not on a battlefield, but in a quiet, candle-lit room in Washington, D.C. After surviving the haunting angel's glow at Shiloh and outrunning the shadowy agents known as the Vultures, Silas finally delivers the Orion cipher to the one man who can use it, Abraham Lincoln. The story reveals that the Civil War was a fight on two fronts. One was the visible battle of brothers fought in the mud of Tennessee and Virginia. The other was a silent, invisible war against external forces, European financiers, and internal saboteurs who wanted to see the American experiment fail so they could reclaim the continent's riches. In the end, Silas doesn't receive a medal or a parade. His name remains absent from the official records of the War Department. As the war finally draws to a close in 1865, Silas stands among the crowds in Washington, his side still bearing the faint, silvery scar where the bioluminescent bacteria once glowed. He watches the tattered flags pass by and realizes that the Union wasn't saved by a single document or a single victory. It was saved by the collective refusal of ordinary men to let the truth be buried. He takes the leather satchel, now empty, and drops it into the Potomac River, watching it sink into the dark water. The secret of the Orion cipher dies with the era, but the Republic remains standing, scarred but whole.